I'll just lean this way.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Welcome back again. Welcome back again to our family support group. My name is Craig, and I have a young lady here. She's going to introduce herself.
Hello, I'm Sherry.
This is Sherry. She is a regular here with us, and she has some very good insight on the subject matter that we be discussing. And so this article is brought to us by BetterHelp.vic.gov.au. I know that's a lot, might be a tongue twister. However, you can retrieve this article at betterhelp.vic.gov.au. And today's title, all right, is trauma and families. Trauma and families. Once again, this is our recovery support group. My name is Craig, and so I'm going to start off reading the synopsis for all those who may not know what that term or the meaning of synopsis is. Just simply an introduction. I'm going to read the introduction and so forth and so on. Me and Sherry, we're going to tag team this together. And so without further ado, the article starts off by saying it is normal to have strong emotional or physical reaction following a distressing event. On most occasions, though, these reactions subside as part of the body's natural healing and recovery process. We're talking about trauma and families. Family members who experience a shared distressing event often become closer and appreciate each other more. A traumatic experience is any event in life that causes a threat for our safety and potentially places our own life or the lives of others at risk. As a result, a person experiencing high levels of emotional, psychological, physical distress that temporarily disrupt their ability to function normally in day-to-day life. Examples of potentially traumatic experience include natural disasters such as a bushfire or flood, experiencing violence in the community, having a serious car accident, or being assaulted. All right, and so this here I thought we can touch on because of a lot of times when we're dealing with addiction, and that can be a psychological traumatic experience on families. All right. And so this article talks about the physical aspect, right? It says the emotional, psychological, physical distress that temporarily disrupt their ability to function normally in day-to-day life. And so a lot of times when we have loved ones who may be going through their times of addiction, for family members who may not understand the addiction process or the addiction lifestyle, they may see this as a traumatic event or through some type of distress as a result of the addiction. All right. And so I'm going to ask Sherry if she would like to read the first part.
Yes, reactions to trauma. In a family, each member will react to a traumatic event in their own way, depending on role, age, and personality style. If family members don't understand each other's experience, then misunderstandings, communication breakdowns, and other problems can result. Even if you cannot understand exactly what another member is going through, being aware of common reactions and their effect on family life can help everyone cope better in the long run. Examples of common reactions to trauma are feeling as if you are in the state of high alert and are on watch for anything else that might happen, feeling emotionally numb as if you're in shock, feeling detached and disconnected from everyone, becoming emotional and upset, feeling extremely fatigued and tired, feeling very stressed and anxious, being very protective of others, including family and friends, not wanting to leave a particular place for fear of what might happen. Also, it is important to remember that despite the above traumatic reactions, many families look back and see the crises that have actually helped them to become closer and stronger. However, don't hesitate to seek professional help if you are uncertain or think your family is struggling to recover.
Wow, that is very important. The key thing is I took out of this, what she read is, don't hesitate to seek professional help. And so this is a recovery support group. Now, when I didn't put it on the board, the exact particular of the recovery support group, this is an addiction recovery support group. All right. And so a lot of times we may have family members or even ourselves that we are having or we are causing traumatic event on family members due to us not knowing how to cope with the trauma that we may be experiencing. I had to learn that what caused my addiction, Sherry, was a lot of what was some of the root cause was some of the traumatic event that I experienced. And so as I learned to understand ACEs, adverse childhood experiences, I come to learn that in order for me to cope with the trauma that I witnessed or even experienced as a young person, what I did was turn to alcohol and drugs.
Now, is it because you didn't know how to express that when you were younger? I know with my son,
Mm-hmm.
he had some traumatic experiences, but never shared because
Mm-hmm.
he didn't know how to express it,
Yeah.
or he was afraid that, his stepfather would get upset. It would cause, individual struggles, and he held it in.
Yeah.
And as he got older, he didn't want to discuss it.
Yeah. It was almost like for me, it's almost like certain things you supposed to handle it on your own.
And you didn't want to hurt anybody else, or you didn't want anybody else to go through that.
Right. You don't want to talk about it, and not being able to identify it as a traumatic event.
Mm-hmm.
It's a traumatic event, but like the article was talking about, the numbness part.
Mm-hmm.
You get numb and you go into a shell, and then you find yourself. Well, I found myself when to relieve myself of the numbness when I first experienced the taste of alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
It was like that first my ultimate state where it's like, wow, my body feels like this warm, sensational feeling like I can escape,
Mm-hmm.
or whatever may be bothering me at the time, that was my outlet. But I come to find out that was the wrong coping mechanism.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why when it talks about the professional aspect, I believe a lot of us, we miss that aspect.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of different addictions, like you're talking about. There's alcohol, there's drugs, there's shopping.
Oh, yeah.
And
yeah.
a lot of people don't understand that there's more than just one that we try to numb ourselves with day-to-day feelings or traumas to escape.
Yeah.
And it's just a person's choice at that, at that time. It may not be any decision, may not be wise because it can affect you in any way, but it happens.
And if you're economically poor, I want to say poor or deprived or not stable, you may not have you may feel like, well, I can't afford no professional help.
Mm-hmm.
And also a lot of times in certain communities, seeking outside professional help, such as a psychiatrist, a doctor.
It's a stigma.
It's a stigma, right? And it's like, man, you're going crazy. Why would you need to?
Right, it's just like certain medications, people don't like to tell you if they're on
Yeah.
anxiety or stress or
Yeah,
anything like that, because there's so much of a stigmatism to different things.
yeah.
I know that after my son passed from the overdose,
Mhm.
I was every single one of these
Mhm.
reactions, every single one of them.
Mhm.
Eventually, I did seek professional help.
Mhm.
It was difficult for me because as I was growing up, you kept everything in house. You know, in your
Yeah.
house, you
Oh,
didn't
yeah.
discuss
Same here.
different things.
Same here.
So it was kind of hard to go, and I'm not a person that will share a lot of my feelings with individuals that I don't know.
Mhm.
So, and to find someone that you connect with
Yeah,
is very difficult to find.
yeah. Without feel like you've been judged.
Correct, but you know, through me and my coworker, because she has been through the same thing,
Yeah.
because we have that connection, that does help. Neither one of us are professional psychiatrists or anything, and you know, like that,
Supportive of
but
one
we're
another.
supportive of each other.
It's like an outlet
Correct.
to be able to identify
Mhm.
and have that
Right.
common ground. Yeah, that's good. So we're talking about a lot of taboo. A lot of times I want to I want to I want to correct this just a little bit because I know it says trauma and family, but I want to put addiction because I don't want the audience to, I want them to understand exactly what we are talking about. All right, addiction recovery support group.
Mhm.
All right, and so yeah, and so that's some good stuff. You know what you shared, and so I didn't know. Our household was almost similar,
Mhm.
whereas when everything stayed in house.
Yeah, you don't let your personal business go out.
Yeah, you know what I mean. And so it's strange, but we have to break out of that.
Mhm. And you know, and that's what happened, you know, in older generations. If something happened, if somebody had a drinking problem, if somebody got sexual assaulted, if somebody,
Yeah.
you know, did something terribly wrong, you
Mhm.
weren't to go out there and discuss it with anyone.
And, yeah, outside help was shunned upon.
Exactly.
But now we're living in a time where enlightening people and letting people know it's okay.
It's okay.
It's okay to take your medicine.
It could be the brightest person who has the highest degree.
Yeah.
They still have trauma.
Yeah, we all go through things in life.
Right, and it doesn't matter who you are, religion, race,
None of that stuff matters.
none of that matters
No.
when it comes to any type of addiction.
Yeah, and so we want to get the word out and let people know that it's help out there and it's okay
Mhm.
to seek help.
Right.
Don't
And
be afraid to take your medicine.
right, and if one professional, you don't connect with that one professional, give it enough time. If you don't, then find someone else, because there is somebody out there that can help you.
Yeah, and that goes exactly with the saying of if you find a addiction recovery support group or a mentor that you don't feel the connection,
Mhm.
or seek someone else.
Right,
That's it.
because not everybody has that one-on-one connection.
That's right. That's right. And so we're working on some good stuff here and some good discussion. And so I hope people are being informed. And so we're going to move on to the next topic of discussion, that is family life following the event. We're still talking about trauma and families addiction recovery support group. This is our addiction recovery support group, but we're talking about the family aspect tonight. And so this article goes on to let us know. It says every family is different, but think of that word but. Anytime you see a word but, that is a contradictory statement, letting us know there is always a two sides of the equation. All right. So it's a family. Every family is different, but generally speaking, common changes to family life soon after the event include. All right. Common changes to family life soon after the event include. Here are some bullets of some of the common changes. Parents may fear for each other's safety and the safety of their children away from home. All right. Family members may experience nightmares or upsetting dreams about the event. All right. Fear of another distressing experience happening may affect family life. Anger at whoever is believed to have caused the event can often flow on to the affected loved ones or the family in general. Family members may feel overwhelmed by insecurity or lack of control, or at the thought of having so much to do. Family members may not know how to talk to each other. Each person is struggling to understand what has happened and how they feel about it. If talking makes people upset, they will often avoid it. Wow, that is so true. A lot of times, I know me and my wife, a lot of times we have discussion, and oftentimes she will say, sometimes when I talk to you, you may get upset, and so that's why I don't make mention of it. And so that can be, I looked at that in the equation of if there's a two-parent household, and if someone in the household is struggling with addiction and they're having a discussion, two people can see the event in two different perspectives, and that may cause some friction.
Yes, and it can cause friction in the marriage if you have a child that is addicted.
Yeah.
Because one parent can be more understanding
Yeah.
and understand why the individual did it. The other one can say, well, it was his choice, he picked it up, da 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 da. That's not, they don't understand what addiction is.
And so they may shut down. They don't want to have
Well,
open discussion.
in my situation, I shut down. I didn't want to talk about it anymore because I could not make him understand. Some people have tunnel vision.
Yeah.
And instead of fighting and arguing,
Yeah.
I shut down.
You will shut down.
I shut down.
Yeah.
And to this day, I just don't bring it up. I will talk to you like my granddaughter about my son or anybody else, but nah.
Yeah. And that's what it says. That's why it says people have different perspective of how they, now we may deal with situation totally, my wife may be an outspoken person. I may be a person who doesn't talk as much, but I still may have the emotional side of it. I may not express it openly, but I may be introverted and extrovert.
Believe it or not, I'm an introvert.
All right.
But it's all according to the situation.
It's all,
that's
right.
Because, as I'm learning about this more, I have a lot more insight.
Wonderful. A lot to share.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I like helping others and, it's important to have somebody that someone can talk to that has been through the same situation.
For me, when I like do this type of stuff or sharing information, it's more therapeutic for me. It's more like getting information out. If I'm able to help someone, I'm also helping myself because I'm learning more.
Absolutely. The more I talk and come here and talk about, the situation that I went through, it helps.
It helps, absolutely.
It's not going to take the pain away.
Yeah.
but, you know, maybe it eases the pain little by little,
Yeah.
more and more.
So we all deal with life situation according to how we deal with it. And if it's working, what it said, if it's not broke, don't fix it. That's right. All right. And so, let me read it. And that's another bullet. And it says, impatient, misunderstanding, arguments over small things, and withdrawal from each other can all impact on family, life, and relationship. Me and Sherry just talked about that, and I didn't know that bullet point was there. However, it was right on time. You want to read some more, Sherry?
Sure.
Okay.
Disruption to family relationships. Family relationships can also be affected by traumatic events. For example, parents may feel unsure about how to help their children after the crisis. Communication breaks down as each family member struggles in their own way to come to terms with what has happened. Children don't want to go to work. Parents don't want to go to work. Children do not want to go to school. Household schedules tend to lapse. For example, chores are missed, regular meal times are disrupted, or recreation is neglected. The usual arrangements for household responsibilities change. Children may cook meals for a time, parents may feel unable to do tasks, or children may not want to be alone. I can say, I have a coworker whose son has been in a very bad motorcycle accident.
Wow.
She's struggling now because she has a younger son, and the two boys were very close.
Mm.
The one had a traumatic experience, brain issue.
Mm.
So his short-term memory is not how it used to be.
Mm.
He doesn't have the tolerance to see his younger brother
Mm.
or have him in the room with him.
Mm.
And not that he's like real young. I mean, he's in high school, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
but anytime that he's around, he gets very agitated and doesn't want to deal. And the other child doesn't understand. What did I do? Why is this happening? We were never like this before. So that's a big thing. I mean, it's not an addiction, but it's still a type of trauma,
Yeah, disruption.
you know, that is very hard to think. You know, my husband was in a very bad motorcycle accident probably 9-10 years ago.
Oh, wow.
And that was a very traumatic experience because now he can't do a lot of the stuff that he could do before.
Oh, okay.
And he doesn't remember certain people's names. He can work with the person every single day,
Mm-hmm.
and but he may not recall
The name.
the names.
Yeah, the face.
The face he recognized, and I always said, you know, I said, we're at the store. Well, who is that? Oh, it's somebody that works at the courthouse.
Mm-hmm.
I said, well, why didn't you introduce me? Oh, I can't remember the name. You know, so I don't even, you know.
Yeah, yeah. And ain't that something?
Mm-hmm.
Now that you're speaking about short-term memory, you know, I smoke a lot of marijuana. I hope for those who are watching, this is an addiction recovery support group. So I used to smoke a lot of marijuana, and they used to always talk about, you know, marijuana destroy your brain cells, your memory. And a lot of times I'll be, you know, trying to remember people's names, and that it just bothers me that I can't remember the person's name. You know, and I said, well, I know so and so, but I can't remember their name. It's but then I think back and I say, well, that's from smoking a lot of marijuana.
Mine's because of old age.
It's funny you say that. You know, I often tease people when they have a memory, when they can't think of something and they have a memory lapse. I always say, "Oh, you're having a senior citizen moment."
Yes, that's what I'm having. And you know, and as far as you know, with with my son dealing with the addiction,
Mhm.
yeah, I never feared for my son that he would hurt my son.
Okay.
I never feared that.
Mhm.
Yes, he got into a car with my granddaughter and that ruined it for that.
Mhm.
Never allowed to drive with her again. That was me. But as far as, getting out of bed, I didn't want to get out of bed.
Wow.
I didn't want to have to go to work. I didn't want to have to deal with anything.
I never knew. I mean, I didn't know that aspect.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
If I went to see him, I was afraid that somebody would see me
Okay. Yeah.
and not necessarily somebody that he owed,
Mm.
one of my peers or something, because the stigmatism or,
Yeah. Yeah.
they don't know how to walk in your shoes and, oh, your child's an addict.
Yeah.
I don't want nothing to do with,
Yeah. Child's mental.
yes.
Yeah. Mhm.
And the judging and the stigmatism really affected me.
Yeah. This is some good information because a lot of times we don't understand how trauma can be so detrimental
Mhm.
and how we may not understand it in the moment
Correct.
until later on.
And a lot of we were talking about medication and stuff
Mhm.
earlier, the stigmatism there. Well, a lot of times you have to take the medication because you have a chemical imbalance in your
Absolutely.
brain, so it's
It's important.
it's important.
It's very important. Like we deal with a lot of people who has been not only on drug addiction, but they also may have some underlying mental health
Correct.
dual diagnosis. And a lot of times, most of the time, people just think that they behave the way they behaving is because they're on the drugs. Unbeknown of a lot of times, people have mental health issues
Yes.
that need to be addressed.
Mhm.
And so, and a lot of times when people who have been diagnosed who have mental health issues, they fear of taking the drug is taboo or stigma. And a lot of times I had one guy told me, say, man, I don't like the way it feels. It makes me feel this certain drug. So I says to the person, I says, well, if you don't like, if it's too strong, ask the doctor to adjust it.
Mhm.
Because a lot of times they experiencing with it to try to get the right
Right,
adjustment.
because of the chemical imbalance in your body that you have in your brain.
Yeah.
I have a girlfriend that I went to school with, and I recently, probably 3 years ago, found out she was a foster child and everything, had the worst experiences.
Yeah.
She is a recovery addict,
Mhm.
17 years,
Yeah.
but she's bipolar also.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So and I can know when she doesn't take her medication.
The ups and downs.
Yes, the ups and the downs.
Mm-hmm.
And, sometimes she's like, well, I don't want to have to take my medication. I said, but you have to take your medication.
Yeah.
That's the only way that you can function.
Yeah. To be at ease, not only yourself, but people around you.
Right. Because when you don't take it, you don't want to do nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you'd be in that,
right.
I forgot the term they use, but they call it not manic. No.
Well, there's a manic depression. There is also, oh my, I forget now.
Yes.
There's a lot of different bipolars.
Yeah, and so that's something that people have to take into consideration. That's why it's very important to seek professional
Right.
help.
And really, who's going to know that you're on medication if you don't tell individuals?
Yeah, absolutely. Everything ain't for everybody.
Exactly. I mean,
if you
me
want,
sitting right here, do you know I'm a diabetic?
no, unless
Unless I tell you.
Yeah, absolutely. That's
Correct.
right.
So that's, that's something that I have to manage.
Yeah, we all have something, I have, what's that, gas, I have heartburn,
Mhm.
and so I'm supposed to take these, methadol
Mhm.
pill, it helps. A
Mhm.
lot of times it just gets so annoying, but
Great.
but if I didn't tell the audience that Craig has gas, heartburn, oftentimes when he eat red sauces or he eat greasy food, and so I
Or
have to,
gravies.
and gravies, which
Now
I
you know
love.
I have it.
Absolutely, which I love. And so we're going to read some more, and so we're doing great. We're doing great. I hope those who have watched this so far is getting something out of it. We're not just sitting here just having a social conversation. Somewhat we are. However, it's geared towards informing people about the addiction recovery process and the trauma that comes with addiction and the mental health aspect as well. So we're trying to cover a whole array of information in one segment. However, we're not going to get through it all. However, I'm going to share with you one more, and then we'll move on from there. People react differently to trauma. All right? It says people react differently to trauma. It is important to remember that it is normal for people to respond in different ways to distressing events. All right? Let me read that again. It is important to remember that it is normal for people to respond in different ways to distressing events. However, sometimes people respond can clash. One person may withdraw and need time to themselves. All right. We talked about that a little bit earlier. While the other needs company and wants to talk about it. One person is an extrovert, one is an introvert. Right. Although this can seem quite confusing at times, giving a person the necessary space to work through their own reaction can be extremely helpful. All right. With families, common reactions may include strong feelings, include anxiety, fear, sadness, guilt, anger, vulnerability, helplessness, or hopelessness. These feelings will not just apply to the event, but to many other previously normal areas of life as well. Physical symptoms, here we go, include headache, all right, nausea, stomach ache, insomnia, broken sleep, bad dreams, changed appetite, sweating and trembling, aches and pains, or worsening of pre-existing medical conditions. Thinking is affected, include difficulties with concentrating or thinking clearly, short-term memory problems. Wow, we talked about that earlier. We're hitting on all cylinders. Difficult planning or making decisions, inability to absorb information, reoccurring thoughts of the traumatic event, thinking about other past tragedies, pessimistic thoughts, or an inability to make decisions. Behavioral changes include a drop in work or school performance, turning to change eating pattern, using drugs or alcohol, being unable to rest or keep still, lack of motivation to do anything, increased aggressiveness, or engaging in self-destructive or self-harming activities. These are people react different to trauma.
That different ways
Mhm.
really got me. Because
Okay.
if you think about it, how many people say if somebody's like, somebody just passed per se,
Okay.
um, well, how come you're not crying?
Yeah. Yeah.
But she's hysterical.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing. Just because you expect someone else to be reacting to something,
Yeah.
we all deal with different things in different ways.
Yeah.
You may go out and react to something. I may hide in a corner.
Yeah.
I may be angry and punching and throwing things.
Yeah.
But you don't react. You don't understand the reactions because I'm so angry, or
Yeah.
and you're reserved because you're over there thinking.
Yeah.
But at that time, I'm not thinking, I'm
You're getting
reacting.
it out.
Exactly. Everybody has a different way of dealing with
Yeah,
their emotions and the traumatic situation.
that is so true. It talks about giving people time
Yeah,
to, work things out.
exactly. Because we can't all react the same.
Yeah, yeah. That's like saying, well, get over it. You should be
Oh,
over it
yes.
by now.
Yes.
So who do you tell somebody?
How do you tell somebody to get over somebody's death?
Yeah, you just,
Or whatever situation?
I know what you're going through. No.
No, you don't. Just like, I don't know what you went through.
Yeah.
I can sit here, I can listen, I can talk to you,
Yeah,
just like you don't understand
Exactly.
what I went through.
right. I can empathize.
Right.
Yeah, I have empathy.
So that different ways, just because you react one way doesn't mean someone else has to.
That is so true. We covered some good ground tonight. We talked about some good information. Remember, this is a family group discussion, and so most of the times we are talking about family issues related to addiction, and so we maybe have a host of topics, whether it be from trauma or it can be from mental health, it can be healing. However, the goal is to help people understand the importance of helping our loved ones, helping each other overcome addiction or any type of trauma by number one, seeking professional help, and also grabbing hold of some type of recovery support group. My name is Craig, and this has been
Sherry.
Sherry, exactly. And so thank you for all watching. Until the next time, please join us next week at 5:30. We will be glad to share some more information. Once again, you could go online and retrieve this article at betterhelp.vic.gov.au. Until the next time, take care of yourself. Be safe, everyone. Yeah.